Yo, what is up, guys? I just got done playing Fortnite, got first place. It took like 4 tries to get to that today. That was a good round out. If you guys want to play Fortnite with me, add me down below, post your username, and then maybe we can play. But yeah, in this video, I want to share with you guys Alibaba tips that have saved me thousands of dollars, right? And saved my friends thousands of dollars. In the past 3 years, me and my team have been sourcing from Alibaba in China. And there's a lot of different things that you guys want to know before you guys get started, right? Or if you guys already have started using Alibaba, here's some tips that are really going to help you guys out. So make sure you stay to the end so you don't make the same mistakes that I did throughout my journey, and how like I lost like a couple $100, a couple $1,000 through like just dumb things, all right? So first things first, right? When you're using Alibaba and you're trying to communicate with people in China, you're going to want to create a new email address, right? Completely new email address. You want to get a different Google Voice number, probably hooked up to that same email. And you're going to have to set up Skype, right? So these are the 3 things that I highly make sure you guys do and get set up with. So first thing, right? Email. Email, you want to get a new email address because you're going to get spammed out the ass by the Chinese suppliers. Even if you block them, even if you send them to spam, you're still going to get bombarded with emails from like a supplier you talked to like 3 years ago. I still do. They still follow up from time to time. They're doing their job, but look, your inbox is going to get destroyed, right? So definitely have a separate email address. For Google Voice, it's not super 100% necessary, but sometimes their suppliers will ask for phone numbers. I prefer to give them a Google Voice number because I've had Chinese suppliers that freaking call me on my cell phone and leave me voicemails, and that's like the last thing I want to deal with. And it's usually like spam related stuff. So because when you register an account on like Alibaba or something like that, and you like put in your business profile a phone number, you're gonna get phone calls from the Chinese suppliers or whoever you're dealing with. Next, Skype. Skype is a really useful communication tool. It's different than, say, like WhatsApp. I mean, it's kind of similar to WhatsApp actually, but it's different than Slack and than some of the other communication tools you've used. Skype is a really common one that's really used between China. So is WhatsApp, I would say too, but I prefer using Skype to communicate with my Chinese suppliers. It's pretty easy to use. You can call them, you can voice call them, you talk to them too. But most of the time when you're talking to Chinese suppliers, you're going to be generally either talking to them via email or using Skype chat. One thing I want to let you know is, like, for communication, do not use the Alibaba chat. It freaking sucks and it's a waste of time to use. At least from the time I made this video, it's just not a good thing to use, alright? So in general, say you find a product on Amazon and you want to search it on Alibaba. The first thing you have to do is really identify what your main keywords are for that product. Alright, so for example, I'm looking into metal lamp covers. Like, this is a product that maybe I found interesting and there's not too many sellers on it. The ranks aren't too high in terms of like the number of reviews, so I'm like, okay, let's go check out Alibaba and see like how competitive this market is, right? Or how much I can get the goods for. Alright, so you go Alibaba.com. If you guys don't know what Alibaba is, it's like one of the easiest sites to find manufacturers in general, right? Not only will you find manufacturers in China, but you'll find manufacturers from all over the planet that use Alibaba. Generally though, most of the suppliers are going to be Chinese on the platform. So once you're on Alibaba, you'll go ahead and type in whatever you're looking for. So metal. So for me, this word would be like metal lamp cover, right? Or you can look at like the different products and you can just see like they use the word industrial, right? Mesh wire cage, lamp cover, bulb guard, right? So these are different keywords that you're gonna want to look and search for your product by. And when you're going through it, just keep that in mind that you want to look at different ones because different suppliers will pop up. Not every supplier on Alibaba has their keyword listing like optimized, right, for you to like find them. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of dirty work yourself in order to find them. But once you search them, the first thing you want to kind of look at is the way I look at it is like I kind of look at all the pictures first, right? So all the pictures, I see which one like matches the design that I want, and then next thing I'll do is I look at the price. Thing you want to keep in mind is that sometimes there's pieces, sometimes there's sets, and there's different things like that. So say like this one's $1 to $4 a set. You want to understand what a set is when you contact the manufacturer or before, if possible, right? So if we're scrolling down here, it has pictures of the product. There's always like descriptions and different pictures of products. So for this product, I looked through it, and although it says a set, I really don't know what a set means, right? So you're gonna have to contact the manufacturer to be like, hey, like how many come in a set or how many come in a lot, and then that's how you'll get like your quote. So keep in mind, note that when you're using when you're searching on Alibaba, people in China can use different slang. And what I mean by different slang is they might be using like more British like words, right? So instead of the word like color, they might spell, like in the US, color is spelled C-O-L-O-R, but in Europe, or I guess in the UK at least, it's spelled C-O-L-U-R, right? And I noticed other words like the word like organizer in the UK is spelled with a Z, and then in the US it's spelled with like an S in there, yeah. So there's different versions of like how words are like formed on Alibaba with the Chinese search, so keep that in mind when you're searching. So another thing I want to go over is Alibaba Trade Assurance, right? So what Alibaba Trade Assurance is, basically it's a free service that protects the orders from payment to delivery. So certain suppliers will have this enabled on Alibaba, and this gives you like more of a trust factor to work with them. What it just means is you can ship the money, you can wire the money to Alibaba, and Alibaba will wire the money to the supplier once you're happy with the product, right? And if you want to dive in deeper into like how to pay your supplier, make sure you guys watch that video. Okay, so the other thing I want to tell you about is another thing that Alibaba has called the gold supplier. So it's like this little icon right here, this left one. In terms of being a gold supplier on Amazon, there's a setting for factories to become like gold plus suppliers on Amazon. I guess it's gold plus now. That's new change. It used to be just called gold suppliers, but essentially it's just them paying Alibaba like a $2,000 fee, I think, or something, to be like, hey, like I want Alibaba to recognize us as a premium supplier. It doesn't really mean anything after the end of the day, because you just pay for it, from what I understand. So trust that badge with a grain of salt. So the other thing that I really want you guys to really check on to save your time is the average response time and the average response rate. Okay, so different suppliers have like these metrics here on the search page. This one is the average response rate, right? So they only respond to like 76% of people. This one responds to 88. Anytime it's like really low, then like their communication is just kind of bad, and it might be very annoying or long till they respond. But another thing is, like, once you click onto like say a listing, you can see how many transactions they've done, right? And how much money people have spent, right? And then the response time, you know, generally they respond in less than 20 benchmark number. If they take longer than like 48 hours, then I don't know, their communication is probably slow. And then in terms of response rate, right? Like I was saying, this is how often they respond to every single inquiry. Because, you know, keep in mind, these suppliers get, I don't want to say hundreds of inquiries a day, but just dozens of like inquiries a day, and like they have to filter through like who's a serious buyer versus who's not. Another metric that I also want you guys to look at is, it's just starting at the top here, right? It says the supplier has been on Alibaba for 2 years. So generally suppliers that have been on there for like 2+ years, you can generally trust they've been on the market for a while. And then this is like maybe like some of the people their competitors may be using, right? Especially if they've been on there a while. It also tells you the location of the manufacturer, right? And then it also, really important, is that they'll tell you if they're a manufacturer or a trading company. Not all trading companies will say they're trading companies, just because that people feel like trading companies are middlemen and they like take a huge cut, right? Which they can do, but sometimes it's easier working with a trading company because they have access to all these factories and you can kind of source everything through them, right? That's what happened to some of my friends, and that's how they found their sourcing agents. They were working with a manufacturer, but then they found a trading company that just happened to have their products that they were carrying too. The trading company was just like, hey, if there's anything else you guys need to find, like let us know and we'll go find it. And that's how a lot of my friends found like their sourcing agents, basically. And then another thing to note about trading companies too, I realized that